I learned most of, believe it or not, back in the day that I started in 1987. I purchased via HSGA again video of this convention that had some pretty big guys on there. Jerry Bird, of course, is the reason I bought it. But as I went through and listened to all the players, I bought the whole set from Clay Savage. It was a long to watch. You know, you had to watch many players, and some were maybe not quite as Jerry Birdish as others. So I went through and I made a list. And then in those days it wasn't that easy, but I got a couple VCRs and I chopped up I think there was 8 or 10 tapes. I chopped my tapes into the best of HSGA 1988. Of course, Jerry Bird's 3 sets were there on top. And then I was just flattered. I don't know why I hadn't met this gentleman, but Frank Della Penna made the cut. Lorene Reimer made the cut, of course. Jack Montgomery was one of the main guys that when I first saw him on that tape, I thought, well, there's a different way to play the steel guitar than Jerry Bird's doing. And that was like the first kernel of, well, I like the way that vibrato goes on, that man. And now, see, I had still at this point never I've never heard of Andy Iona, Dick McIntyre, Saul O.P. You know, I'm running on just the fumes of what I can get out of Tom Bradshaw as far as records. So I had Rudy Ryrata and things like that. But when I first heard that vibrato of Jack Montgomery, well, that started me on a quest that's still never ending. So from that point on, I bought every video that HSGA put out to offer. Now there's been people on the internet complaining that we should make these free to the world. Well, they were free to the world. You just missed. You missed the opportunity. And anyway, I'd like to thank Warren Slavin, he's not here. He was on my list. I just had the best of. But truthfully, after about 3 or 4 runs through, it just was all Jerry Bird. And I listened to those 3 performances probably 10,000 times. Because at that time there was no video. I had never seen his hands move. The angle was not as nice as this angle is. But I learned everything basically from his books and those tapes. And on the last Sunday of his show, I guess he came out. I guess they had a Sunday performance at that time because they said this is Sunday, and he said that he had a request for YEPO, and the gentleman that requested it said he hadn't heard it all the convention. And Jerry Bird, with his classic humor, said, "What have you been walking around in the parking lot? It's been played 45,000 times." I hadn't heard it much this week, so I was hoping I could at least get away with playing YEPO as written. All of these are, of course, written by Jerry Bird. These are his professional arrangements. Okay. problem